I'm Corey Charlupski from Corey Charlupski and Douglas Elliman Real Estate. Welcome to another episode of Saw, Love, Have. Today I'm with Gary May from Wells Fargo Private Mortgage Banking. Gary, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me, Corey.
So Gary, I wanted to start out with why home loans? Why mortgage banking?
I've been on most sides of the real estate world. I actually got introduced into it from a home staging standpoint and worked with a lot of realtors just as home staging was really becoming part of a standard package when you're listing a home. And then I went into real estate sales, real estate development, and really saw an opportunity within the mortgage world where I could make a bigger difference than I was on the real estate sales side of things. And it was just a better fit for me.
You know, it's actually really interesting because I took a similar path. I was a real estate lawyer and I saw the same thing. I saw something that maybe fit my personality a bit better, maybe fit generally what I like to do, which was to be with people, to help them with potentially the biggest investment of their entire lives. And really that starts with you, because in order to buy a house, you have to have the money. I want to move on now to the next phase. Real estate agents, sellers especially, love to hear is a magic two-word term, all cash.
Yes.
What can you talk about, what that means and what that means if you're a buyer, if maybe you don't have an all cash offer?
It can be difficult for buyers with mortgages going up against all cash buyers.
But here's my question, Gary. Sorry to interrupt, but if I get a mortgage from a reputable company, a bank like Wells Fargo, and I present that to the seller, essentially the seller gets the same check at the end of the day, the same amount of money wired to them.
Yes.
So what is it, and if I'm a buyer with a mortgage, how can I make myself the most attractive to a seller?
That's a great question. So the only way to be competitive against an all-cash buyer is to not have a loan contingency. So my team, we take mortgage to a slightly higher level. When we're working with buyers, we initially pre-approve them. So we look at their credit, we look at their income, we look at their assets, and we give them a pretty solid priority buyer letter that says that this buyer is good for this loan amount. Right now, sellers are in the driving seat and they want easy. And all cash sounds easy.
Sure.
But all cash doesn't necessarily mean the best deal for the seller, because all cash has a tendency to pay below list price, for example, on many occasions, but they can close very quickly. So what we do with our buyers to get them in that same position is, rather than just pre-approve them, we fully underwrite the loan. So we do all of the work up front.
Lastly, I want to move on to our last section here, Gary, and I want you to tell us more about what you can offer. What do you have? We have similar clientele, you and I, people buying homes. What do you have that you can offer them, that Wells can offer them, as far as mortgages go, rates, any tools? I know you've mentioned some of them. Is there anything else that we should know about what the capabilities that you have?
Sure. This could take a while. Once you start getting into the jumbo world, the non-conforming world, we have a lot of flexibility for buyers. We work with a lot of affluent clients, and their situations tend to be complicated. Multiple sources of income, things of that nature. And we have a dedicated underwriting team that understands that. I mean, they're based in LA, they understand the dynamic of entrepreneurs, business owners, and they don't always fit in the box. Very rarely that a buyer will come in with a nice, neat package.
That would make your job too easy.
It would, it really would. It would make it very boring. And so we look at those buyers from a more holistic view. We look at their overall profile, not is their debt to income 43%? Are their reserves such and such? Is their credit score, meet the minimum standards? So we cater to both sides of the spectrum, from affordability standpoint.
Well, Gary, I really appreciate your time. I think we did a great job educating the public on mortgages, on both what it takes to get into a home for the first time and maybe what it takes to, buy a second home or a third home. A lot of different tools available. So thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Corey Charlupski with Corey Charlupski and Douglas Elliman Real Estate. This has been Saw Love Have with Gary May from Wells Fargo Private Mortgage Banking.